Hello and welcome to VA Sales and the Kelp Keynote blog, and this is the weekend review for March the 3rd through today, Saturday, March the 9th. And I wanted to accompany today's blog with this video to talk about several things that have transpired during the week. I like to occasionally use these videos to go over questions and answers and questions that I receive at the website. One of the articles that I blogged about this week was how advantageous sea vegetables are for human nutrition and to incorporate into your diet. And in that archived blog issue, I mentioned potentially becoming a distributor working in tandem with another Maine company here in Maine that harvests is what I'm trying to say, sea vegetables. And I was already contacted by two individuals at my website asking more in-depth questions about that. In conversation with the company here in Maine, in Franklin, Maine Seacoast Vegetables, at this time they're not necessarily taking on new distributors or being selective in the process of doing so, and that's contributory to several factors. 2 years ago, when the nuclear disaster happened in Japan, they got a very huge influx of business from people not wanting to any longer imbibe food that was generated from the oceans in the Far East. Thus, it put quite a strain on their production capability to keep up with demand for their products. Also, the subsequent storms that we have had of great magnitude over the last couple of years, hurricanes, northeast snowstorms, nor'easters, all of the above, and being in between their typical harvesting season, all of those factors have put quite a strain on them to keep up with demand. And their new harvesting season will commence probably in late April, early May, and I'm being led to believe that it probably will take them up to and including the early part of the fall before they can entertain taking on new business in the way of distributorships. So I'm sort of on the waiting list on that, and I'll keep everyone advised of that. But as I answered the two individuals directly via my own email in response to that, I wanted to add that to this blog today. A couple of other questions that I continue to receive. I do have a questions and answers page. The main one that I always get is dosage for my kelp. And just to refresh everyone's memory, if you go to my home page, there's a dosage rate chart, feed rate chart, now in triplicate on my home page. Pretty much right near the top, within the first handful of sentences, there's verbiage that tells you to look below. The dynamics of my website are such that you do have to scroll from top to bottom to ascertain and read all the information on each and every page and the subsequent pages after my home page. So I would encourage everybody to do that. But the feed rate chart is indeed listed right on the home page. And there's a notation in my questions and answers page referencing people to that fact. For the sake of this video, if you're feeding a dog, the basic rule of thumb is if your dog is over 50 pounds, up to and including 100 pounds, you should give them a teaspoon a day. If you have an extremely large breed dog, to your discretion, you can indeed give a teaspoon and a half. To flip that over, if your dog weighs less than 50 pounds, you should give a half a teaspoon of kennel kelp daily. And if you have an extremely small dog, probably under 20 pounds, you may want to give a quarter of a teaspoon. I'm not going to get into the livestock feed rates. Again, read my feed rate chart. It's clearly depicted on the home page. Cats, unless it's an extremely large cat, over 25 pounds, you should give a quarter teaspoon of kennel kelp. One of the other issues, unfortunately, that I once again have to address, and I've written blogs about this that are probably deleted now. Speaking of blogs, I periodically go in and delete, probably in 3-month cycles, and certainly at the year end of each calendar year. That's to free up my cache to have memory. So lots of people have asked, they find a particular topic on search engines, and when they come to my blog, the information is no longer there. That's why I have to delete them periodically. Basically, I do that in 3-month cycles, and certainly at year end. So if you're experiencing that as you come to the website, if it is indeed an older blog past the 3 months cycle, or certainly if it was prior to 2012, they have been deleted. And when you get to the blog page, it simply says something about older blogs and or newer blogs, and you can click on the newer blogs and you'll read my most frequent and most recent blog entries, and you can go through their website in the balance of cases, and that would answer your original question pertinent to the former blog subject. Getting back to a case in point, a couple of years ago I had to write an article specifically about spamming. I've talked a lot about being ubiquitous on the web. Obviously, you get everybody from A to Z. You get bona fide clients, you get the one-and-done clients, you get the curiosity seekers, and you certainly get the spammers. So I put the message back out to spammers. My influx of spamming has increased dramatically over the last 5 weeks. You all know who you are. You all know where you emanate from. I know where you emanate from, and you are being reported. So each and every time that you try to spam me, you can continue to do so, but you are being reported, and eventually there are cyber police that specifically backtrack links, messages, so on and so forth. Over time, you will be caught, so it's up to you if you want to continue to do so, but word of caution, I wouldn't advise you to do that to my website. I will report you, and I continue to do so daily, so go elsewhere. We're all too busy. I don't have time for that kind of foolishness. So, word of caution. You've been advised. I also wanted to talk a little bit more about my BH sales supplements. I've also had questions about something to the effect that it looks like my website, I only offer animal products. Again, the moniker on my homepage and the lion's share of my business over the last 3 years has indeed been geared to animals. But if you take the time to read the website, look at the icons in the glossary, click on them, they're clearly defined: BH Sales, human supplements, Vital Choice, human supplements. If you read my archives of recent note in my blogs, especially this past week, it's been exclusively devoted to human diet and nutrition. So point being, I do indeed supply products to humans, supplements as well, and I am now a consultant. I've alluded to that in today's blog. I get more and more requests for consultation. Fighting a cold today, so bear with me. A little bit of a dry throat. I have been requested to be a consultant. There is no charge. I do it of my own volition, and it's mutually agreed upon. I usually let people seek me out and make their request. My products are pretty well documented. There's a large array of testimonials to my products. Check out my testimonials page. And I always use the disclaimer, which again is clearly defined on my homepage. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a certified nutritionist. I avow things that have worked for me. This is definitely alternative medicine. It plays to a certain audience. It doesn't play to folks that want to continue to eat greasy, fat food and have no desire to get healthy. So there's no sense in us having a conversation if you choose to be of that ilk. This is strictly alternative. If you choose to change your life, I'm here to try to help you. I always advise folks that anything that I advise them, they should consult their healthcare practitioner to make sure that their healthcare practitioner concurs with the advice and the products that I suggest. So I'm going to cut it short for today, but always remember that BH Sales promotes good health in all animals and humans. Topics of discussion next week, beginning into talking more about several of my new products, especially those that are geared to horses. I do service the horse market. I do enjoy a good clientele in the horse genre, and I'll be talking more about new products geared to equine health. Thanks, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a good weekend.